Hiya guys, I'm going to make some vanilla scones. I'm going to use Anne's recipe, my friend. I'm not putting sultanas in, they're just going to be plain vanilla scones with custard and cream inside with a bit of icing on top. I don't know if you've ever had a green Holsh's vanilla scone, but they're shaped like a triangle. Mine won't be, they'll be round. But I just love the vanilla scone with the custard in the middle and the icing on top, and that's how green Holsh's do theirs. But they don't always have them in, and I go and I'm disappointed, so I'm going to make them myself. So you want 175 mils of whole milk with a good glug of lemon juice. That's enough. And that turns your milk into buttermilk. So if you leave that to one side, it'll turn into buttermilk. It'll curdle, and that's your buttermilk. So for these scones you need buttermilk, which you make with milk. If you haven't got buttermilk, you bake it with milk and lemon, and you grease and line a tray for the oven. And you're going to put your tray in the oven and heat it up. I've got my oven on 150 degrees electric fan oven. You need 85 grams. Oh, I'm doing it in my food processor. You can do them in a bowl with your hands if you like, but I've got arthritis in my hands, so I use my food processor. So you want 85 grams of butter, and as always, I'm using half salted and half unsalted. That's just personal preference. You can use all salted, you can use all unsalted, it's entirely up to you. But as long as you've got 85 grams of it. And you want your butter cold from the fridge. Cut your butter into cubes. And pop it into your food processor. And now you want 350 grams of self-raising flour. Pop that into your food processor. But if you're doing it in a bowl and rubbing it with your hands, just put it in a bowl together and rub the butter into the flour for a little while until you've made like breadcrumbs. But if you're doing it in the food processor, just pulse it a little bit to get these two ingredients a little bit combined. It's only a small food processor, mine, but it's big enough for this job. I could do with a bigger one really, but I haven't got one. They're very handy, food processors, for people like me that have arthritis in their hands. Right, I'm just going to pulse that together for a couple of seconds. add some sugar. Now you want 3 tablespoons of sugar. Just sprinkle that in. And a tablespoon of baking powder as well. Make sure your scones rise. Now you're going to mix that, pulse it together. If you're doing it by hand, rub everything in. That's enough. And now your buttermilk will have curdled, and you're going to add vanilla extract to it because the vanilla scones. So you want quite a bit of vanilla extract. I'm going to put 2 teaspoons in. So you've got your curdled milk, which is your buttermilk, and you're going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I need a bit more. They're delicious, these scones. Right, so now I'm going to add that to your food processor. Again, if you're doing it by hand, just add your wet ingredients and mix it all in with your hands or your mixer, whichever you're using. But I like to use my food processor for this because it cuts through the dough. It cuts through the dough. Right, and you just mix that, pulse that until it becomes a solid lump, a dough. And there's your vanilla scone dough. The buttermilk makes all the difference to this scone recipe. It's gorgeous, delicious. I can even eat the dough. Now you're going to turn it out onto a floured surface. Now if you remember me doing scones before, I did sultana scones and I did the mini scones for an afternoon tea. Well, I'm doing them a bit bigger this time because I want these vanilla scones. And if anybody says to me, you're handling that dough too much, don't. Doesn't matter how much I handle the dough, the scones turn out delicious. It's an old wives' tale, that. In fact, the more I knead the dough, the nicer they taste. Right. Now just flatten it out to about 1.5 inches.